Has your dentist ever told you about mouth resting? Hi, I'm Dr. Ellie, and in this video I want to talk to you about something that's really important for your mouth health, called mouth resting. And many people have never heard about it, and it is absolutely vital for your mouth health, but not only for your mouth health, but for your systemic health as well. I'm going to explain how you do mouth resting, how often, how important it is, especially its impact on systemic health, which is where I want to go eventually. But let's begin because you achieve the best mouth resting with the use of xylitol. Now, xylitol is the sugar from birch trees, and I have mints and gum made with xylitol that does two really important things. When you put some xylitol in your mouth, and it can be a couple of mints or a mint, a piece of gum, or you can just have the crystals, it all works the same way. As a small amount of xylitol goes into your mouth, it will do two very important things here. It will feed all the good bacteria in your mouth. But what it also does is it stimulates a flow of saliva into the mouth. And it stimulates this flow so the saliva, or the liquid, the spit that comes into your mouth, is actually called stimulated saliva. And this stimulated saliva comes from all over your mouth. Usually the roof of your mouth is where it comes mainly from. Stimulated saliva is sort of your body's fire response to a catastrophe or to something going on in your mouth. I don't know if you've ever eaten a lemon and it's really tart, and that would be really acidic and really damaging to your teeth, and you found your mouth sort of squirted saliva out. That is your body's response because the acidity has called the saliva to flow to bring minerals to your teeth, to protect them. Xylitol is able to stimulate saliva every time you put a little bit in your mouth. And this stimulated saliva is packed, it's laden with minerals. It's so laden, it's called supersaturated. In other words, it can barely carry all the minerals it has. So it's just looking for some place to drop the minerals. And if you give it time, your stimulated saliva will drop those minerals onto your teeth. And those naturally produced minerals that are in your saliva will go into your enamel to make it stronger, to repair any damage, any potential cavity forming. This is the most incredible thing we have. And it's free, and it occurs just because you put a tiny amount of xylitol in your mouth. Now, also in that stimulated saliva are immune cells that can help heal your gums. So if you have gum disease, it's also really important to remember about the value of this stimulated saliva. And this is where we reach the place where I teach you about mouth resting. And mouth resting is the length of time you allow this stimulated saliva to work its magic. And I'm going to call it magic because it is incredible. You do nothing. After you've had the two jelly mints or a piece of gum, stop eating and drinking. You don't have to go and brush your teeth. You don't have to do anything. Just stop and leave your mouth alone. I've always said for an hour, but in actual fact, I'm going to tell you in a little bit why it's better to go even longer if you can. If you can leave your mouth without eating or drinking for 90 minutes, you get the maximum benefit. Now, during that time, I've explained, your saliva is going to be dropping minerals in your teeth. It's going to be taking immune cells to help repair any gum damage that you have. What we also know is that if you have healthy saliva that contain nutrients, these nutrients are going to feed the good bacteria on the back of your tongue. There is a very special little colony, a little community of bacteria that live on the back surface or the top surface of the back of your tongue. And these bacteria they actually use these nutrients that are in saliva. They turn them through a few processes, and it turns out to form, it's actually a gas called nitric oxide, which you have swallowed. It actually turns to nitric oxide in your stomach. And this nitric oxide helps your heart, your breathing, and your brain health. What it does is it relaxes the blood vessels in your heart so they are more relaxed. It lowers your blood pressure. It helps your breathing because it relaxes the muscles in your breathing tubes. And it stimulates the blood flow in your brain. So you want nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is formed 60 to 90 minutes after you have eaten a diet or a food or a lunch that was rich in green leafy vegetables, salad greens. Celery is amazing for your mouth health. So if you have a nice healthy salad and some celery at lunchtime, 60 minutes from that lunch, your bacteria on the back of your tongue are going to be turning your nitrates into this amazing nitric oxide, which is going to help your heart, your breathing, and your brain health. So that's why you want to rest your mouth for 90 minutes after lunch. If you sip some water, if you continue to sip your coffee, if you continue to chew your xylitol gum for too long, you will spoil that moment of opportunity. You will limit that particular benefit that you might have wanted. But be aware of these benefits that only occur when you are not eating, drinking, sipping, snacking on anything. Our saliva has a so-called circadian rhythm. During the day and during the night, there are patterns. And the ideal saliva, the ideal pattern moment for all of these health benefits is actually in the afternoon time. Right after you've had lunch, if you eat lunch, for the hour or so after that is when you would actually capitalize on maximum benefit from mouth resting. If you want to sip your coffee, you're better to do it during the morning. I still would recommend take a moment, try and get an hour, carve out an hour and a half if possible, at some point in the morning. If you're an athlete, you may want to think about this and actually make a plan so that you have maximum nitric oxide before you go for your run or before you go for your workout. I recommend, if you're using xylitol, chew your gum for 2 to 10 minutes. That is the time to spit out your gum. You've probably got the flavor out of it at that point. The xylitol will have done its work feeding the good bacteria. And at the same time it feeds the good bacteria, xylitol actually also feeds plaque bacteria. And these plaque bacteria can't utilize xylitol, and they make a lot of effort to get it out of their system. And in so doing, they run out of energy. And so they can't stick to your teeth anymore. They can't make the acids that form cavities anymore. And so what basically happens is plaque becomes slippery and it just ends up not hurting your teeth anymore. And if you brush your teeth that night, it will be more easily brushed or rinsed away. That's how you get rid of plaque on your teeth with the use of xylitol. Pattern your day. Try to give yourself at least an hour, preferably 90 minutes, after you've had xylitol where you don't eat or drink. Try to maximize that middle of the day for a few hours where your mouth can heal itself. It really is quite incredible. If you do this, you'll notice an enormous difference in your mouth health.